Swami Parmanand Maharaj Ji, Nivedita Didi, Vinayak Ji, all the colleagues working together for this G20, C20 under G20. It's a great opportunity to bring the Indian perspective of solving world global problems. And Nivedita ji has given very rightly, she has raised some problems, and she has talked about what is really happening and what are they saying and what is the result and all these things. So me also, I want to show the theme. The sub theme is number 4, and under that sub theme number 4, I will speak about. I will give a presentation actually, so that we can quickly move on. What is the agenda of the G20? But what are the questions that come to our mind as Indians? And what are the qualities that the world demands, and what is happening actually? How UN advocates diversity and inclusion, but actually what has been happening, and the solutions that, from the Indian perspective, from Indian thought, from Indian philosophy of life, and the vision and the knowledge that has been bequeathed by our rishis, the munis, the acharyas, and the gurus. So please permit me to share my PPT with you, so we can quickly move on. The agenda, when I looked at the agenda of G20, we all find that they talk about collective approach to find solutions for crisis and problem management. But there is no solution. There is no single solution, as Nivedita ji said. But we have to talk about what kind of solutions can we have from the Indian philosophy, from the Indian knowledge systems. What is true happiness is another question. All the countries the world over, they talk about GDP, but Bhutan, being a small country, it talks about gross national happiness. So how does this happiness can be brought to the nation? They are working on it. India is a distinct country. When we look at the globe, we see that India has a distinct personality because its knowledge, its vision, it's the life, the philosophy of life is given by the rishis, and that is based on the core philosophy of India is tyag, tap, sacrifice, generosity, dan, etc. So we have to include all these. Only then we can have a better world. We can have happiness. We can have happiness in the world, and we have to respect diversity. And that everybody has to be included. But what has happened here, I just wanted to talk about it, that India, there is a continuous history of more than 2000 years, that when the world around India, the neighboring countries, all the countries in Asia, they were following the path, the spiritual path shown by India. There were everywhere there was happiness, there were progress. But as soon as these the powers who do not believe in diversity, they crushed them, they destroyed them. As soon as the Indian culture was destroyed in these countries, then it became a no man land. The example that I would like to give is from Central Asia. So many flourishing countries, because of not believing in diversity, they became a no man's land. So we have to find solutions. We have to add these things into our syllabus, into the school syllabus, etc., into the college, into the universities. So I also want to raise a few questions here, that worldwide, if you look at, we talk about peace, harmony, brotherhood, environmental consciousness, but what is really happening? There is all disharmony, exclusion, and war and terrorism, and capitalism has overpowered. It is harnessing the resources in such a way that, and because they believe that man is the master of nature. While in Indian, according to Indian philosophy, human being is not the master. We say, "Kena tyaktena munjita, ma grida kasya swidhanam." So we have to devise, the modern world has to learn from India that how we can bring a balance in the ecosystem, how we can stop exploiting the nature and all these things. in diversity and inclusion, but actually what happened to Roma, to Yazidis, to Hindus in Pakistan and Bangladesh, thousands and thousands of people were just killed. I have been to many countries working on Roma who were Indians who went abroad because of many reasons, but they were all killed. I have been to certain places, to concentration camps also. How they were killed because they did not look like them, because they spoke a different language, because they had black hair, their traditions were different. So during the World War II, they were all finished, killed, brutally killed. And another question is about the Indians who were taken as indentured laborers to many countries for, but it was they were taken by the powers who were dominating at that time. What was dominating their minds was greed, and because we need to have a balance between the need and the greed. But today also overconsumerism, violence, terrorism, turmoil, all is happening because we don't believe in this inclusion and mutual respect. So water bodies, marine life, and when we talk of Vasudhaiva Kundambakam, that it is does not mean only the human life, but we include into it the animal life, the plant life, the earth and the sky also. But we are polluting everything. What we need as solution is insight, inspiration, pure knowledge, experience, all these values, etc. So, as Nivedita ji said, what you and advocates diversity and inclusion, but actually what happened was exclusion and discrimination. There is imbalance in the society. Authoritarian regimes have adopted capitalism and using the resources so much. There is no balance. So we have to do work on case by case study. We have to undertake research case study by case study. So economic model offered by the modern thinkers and policymakers should be revised, looking into the Indian perspective. There is no policy of dumping the waste. We in India, we believed in Panch Mahabhuta, and whatever we produced was from the five basic elements. But now because of plastic, there is so much happening, so much pollution, so much garbage all over the world. We are polluting the oceans also. So understanding and respecting each other's culture without any discrimination, without demeaning, leads to understanding, progress, peace, harmony, etc. Leads to Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So, why we say that Indian culture can give some solutions to the world, because Indian culture is times tested. So our approach of growth is totally different, because yes, of course, we are in this world, we are born in this world. Materialism is important, but we believe in a balance in spiritual transcendence and material prosperity. So tena tyaktena bhunjita magridha kasya svidhanam. So we have to look into this. Then another point that I want to raise is that people are talking about climate change, but what the solutions are there in the Vedas that are not given space. The scientists who want to work on it, who are already working on this for years. One scientist I know who is working for more than 15 years, he's so frustrated because he can give a lot from the Vedic knowledge, but he's not given a chance. So we have to investigate and open the eyes of the world. Now I come to the native cultures. A number of cultures all over the world, especially in Europe, they were all crushed. Even people, even plants, even herbs, they were destroyed because they were different, and they wanted some similar kind of, when Christianity came, then they wanted some similar kind of people, similar thought, similar similarity in behavior. Everything has to be similar, but they did not believe in diversity. So native culture have the capacity of enriching the life. Native cultures have can tell us how there can be sustainable development. Local communities in many countries have to be empowered, because food and herb, the culture, it's very important, because according to Ayurveda, whatever is grown wherever a person is born, whatever is grown around him is important and is good for his health. But today we have changed this, and herbal culture, native herbal and food culture is all destroyed in the name of modernity. Whatever is modern is equal to westernization. So we should look for locally available herbs which are cheap, because today the hospital, the medical system has become so difficult for many people that they, because of that they are suffering. Each house used to have its own plants. Even in India we have so many plants, herbal plants, so they were used as remedies. There were shamans in many countries, and even now people are recovering. In Lithuania there is one expert who has recovered more than 3,000 herbs. So local food culture and herbal culture should be promoted at the global level. And inclusion of ancient cultures can help the world in health, education,
Uh, I think she got disconnected. Vivek, is that so? Vivek,
Yes, Dada.
is that she got disconnected, right?
Yes, yes, Dada.
Okay, let me call her. Or
Or you can move.
uh, should I try to call her and then find out? She might
But
not be aware also.
that will take further time. Mm.
Okay. Maybe Vivek can make the call while I move on to the next speaker. She got disconnected. She might not be aware of
yeah,
that
yeah.
also.
Am I audible now?
Oh,
Okay,
yes,
I'm
yes, yes,
sorry.
please.
I was
That's
disconnected for a while.
right, right. Okay.
So I was talking about what happened in these countries. So let me come to that. So I was talking about the voiceless people. They are still voiceless, although there is a lot that has been said about raising the voice. And C20 is meant for taking the voice of the voiceless to the governments of the G20. So societies that are on margin should be included. There are many societies in the world, in many countries with whom we are working from ICCS. They are still marginalized and they are even threatened. If they follow their traditions, they are even killed. And sometimes they are reluctant to show what they are doing and what their belief is. So, and another point is that these people in these countries who are following the native culture, they offer prayers to sun, to trees, to mountains, to rivers, all. So that means they are environmentally conscious people. When we worship a mountain, when we worship a river, then we don't pollute it. So traditional systems should be protected, because they believe in nature, and they want to protect it. Another point is that there is science behind many things. The way we live, the way we eat, the way we have our daily routine. So that has to be brought to light first by the Indians. We ourselves have to do this. That why do we take a bath in the morning? Why do we perform puja? Why do we do this and that? How do the fast, the rituals, all these things? So this has to be promoted and talk to the people. Just before this meeting, I had a meeting organized by the ICCR. There were delegates from 7 countries, and all of them were so happy to know about Indian way of life and thinking. Another point that I want to raise is that what is happening is that people who are environmentally conscious, but because the greedy people are there and they want to take away the lands from them, that is what has been happening in many places, like in Brazil. Brazil is going to be the next G20 host, so we want to talk about that also. ICCS has done a lot of work there among the societies, among the native societies in Brazil. So how their culture can be protected, but we have to take it forward to the government. So people of any country who are like this, who are environmentally conscious, their lands should not be snatched away. There are, for example, there are 305 ethnic groups speaking 275 languages. When we destroy their culture, then all the languages, all the distinctive identity, their traditions, their culture, everything everything fades with it. But that is very important, not only for them but for many other countries. So here I am giving you a list, which we have prepared. We are planning to have organize around more than 25 programs. Some of them are almost in the final shape, but some of them are in the process, and some of them are waiting for the funds to be made available. So far, we are told that there are no funds, but I am hopeful that if we get some funds, then some of them we can really go forward. But here is a list in different cities, with or in collaboration with national and international delegates and organizations. ICCS is working on it. Here is the plan. Here is a list of the. I think it's too small to read, but I can share it later on. So with these words, I just conclude that we have to work to give voice to the voiceless. We have to bring the marginalized into the mainstream. We have to promote faith in unity and diversity, respect for all as one family, as we say in the motto Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. Assimilate the noble thoughts from wherever they come. Ano Bhadra Kratavo Yantu Vishwata. If India has some thoughts, it can share. If other countries have some thought, they can share. So it's always we are open for sharing, and everybody should remain open for sharing to have the best from each all the countries and regions and these people. So include the forgotten. There is so much in our history, the history which can make Indians proud of what they gave, but gave to the world. What they shared with the world is so important, which is proved by a history of 2000 years. Millions of documents are scattered all over the world, but we are not much aware about it. So all the cultures who are destroyed or faded, they should be revisited, and revisit the spiritual path is very helpful. And we are organizing some programs or to highlight the relevance of ashrama and temple culture of India, because there can be nothing better than this to showcase that how Indian ashrama and temple culture, this automatically we learn, we are groomed in this, we are educated into this, our mind works like this. As soon as we enter a temple or an ashram, when we stay in an ashram, the mind works very differently. So for working on diversity, inclusion, and mutual respect, I think this is one of the very important topics. So there are other topics also. So with these words, I thank you all. I thank Param Pujya Swami Paramananji Maharaj and all the others. Thank you very much.